Hey y'all, good evening everyone. It's Miss Council back at you one more time or one more again, like we used to say back in the day. Happy Friday Eve. I'm just give everybody a moment to join us today. Hey fan, I see you're on. Let me know you can hear me. Give me a like or a heart. How's everybody doing tonight? One more day to the weekend. Friday Eve. Tonight's topic is going to be a loaded one. I hope y'all are ready. Got your pens and paper ready. Ready with your comments. Hey, fan. Who else do we have with us here? Y'all shout out. Let me know who you are. Hey, big brother. I see you're on. Thank y'all so much for joining me once again tonight on a Thursday night on the Friday Eve. Hey, Christy. So on Monday night, we had a good topic, and we talked about, oh, it ain't my fault. So I'm gonna do a recap for everybody. But first, I'm Miss Council, and I know a little bit about everything, but I am a relationship expert and a life coach, and I work with divorced and remarried women on getting their lives together and helping them with their second marriages. So on the last show, I'm sorry, I had said hey to Christy. I say Terry. Hey, Terry. So on our last show, we talked about, oh, it ain't my fault. We talked about accountability, and being being accountable. Sorry, y'all. Accountable for your actions, and owning your ish. That's what I always say. Own your ish. But if we don't take responsibility for our actions, we don't realize how the things that we do impact other people, and it can be harmful. I mean, even your words can be something that can be like a slap in the face for somebody. So, I talked about, even when we're trying to be funny or shady, like we like to call it, you could do something or say something that has a lasting impact on your relationship. Everything, you can't just apologize. You can't, I'm sorry it away. So, you got to choose your words carefully. So I talked about, don't be sorry, be careful. So if you want to learn about those tips that I talked about on Monday, go and check out Monday's video. I always post the video. I share the video after the live ends because, hey, everybody's schedule is different. Everybody might not be able to join us 8 o'clock Eastern on Mondays and Thursdays. You see what I did there? Y'all caught that plug. Tell your friends, share it, like it, post it. Thanks to all of you all who have been sharing my post. My big brother, y'all, he had it in the story today. I was like, that's what I'm talking about. I need to start doing that, huh? But I really appreciate your support and just continuing to join me here every Monday and Thursday night. And those of you who go back and watch the replay and give me feedback, please continue doing that. I love it. It's helpful for me. And even when you're giving me ideas, giving me suggestions on what to talk about next. So I love those. I like to see your feedback. I like to see the comments, so please continue engaging with me because, hey, it keeps me going. So, like a preacher always says, I won't hold you long. Don't I say that every time? But, we just see how the Spirit leads. So today we're talking about not wasting your time. And so when I was younger, there's one thing that I wish I knew was that change is what you get when you break $1. Hey, Tracy. But yeah, that's what change is. It's what you get when you break $1. We know change can be used can be used interchangeably. But today we're going to talk about not wasting your time trying to change people. I know that's going to be a touchy topic right there. Don't waste your time trying to change people. And if I had known this at an early age, y'all, I would have saved myself a lot of headache and heartache, right? Anybody else? Let me see your thumbs up. Anybody know what I'm talking about? I need somebody to testify. You know how the preacher says, can I get an amen? So your likes and your hearts, that's an amen. So let's talk about what you can change. You can change your address. Mm-hmm. You can change your attitude. You can change your hair. You can change a lot of things. But your address, the things we're going to talk about are your address, your attitude, your direction, and your energy. So I'm going to be talking to my singles. I'm going to be talking to my people who are couples, who are in relationships, who are married. You know, I always get feedback that I know you focus on divorced women, but your topics are for everybody. Hey, you know what? I'm just out here to help people. And if I can help one person, then my work will not have been in vain. So, hey, Auntie, I see you're on with this today, my Auntie Geraldine. So let's talk about the things you can change. So, my single folks, you can move away from people, in a sense, but moving away from them more so by no longer allowing them in your circle. Remember, I've talked about that before in another video. Stop allowing people to sit at your table. You over here pulling out a chair and just welcoming people on in. Hey, SB, I see you just joined. But stop, just allowing them in your circle. You can change that. Stop letting people take up residence, if you're not on the same page. Hey, Latricia, see you're on with us, but you don't have to do that. That's what I mean by change your address. You can also change your attitude, in a good way. It's the way that you deal with people. If you don't like how they're treating you, you can just show them. You can just address that. So you change your attitude. It's all about perspective, right? Change is all about perspective. You don't have to answer their calls or show up, make yourself available to them if you don't want to. That's definitely a change in attitude, right? Because you have to teach people how to treat you. Y'all know how to do that? Teach people how to treat you. It's simply done by not, letting people know what you're going to accept and showing them and meaning it. But I remember in school, they taught us how to use our words. And they said, you should stand up for yourself, stand up for what's right. So that's teaching people how to treat you. That's important. You can change your direction. Now, what I mean by that, it wasn't just a catchy list of things. I do usually have 3 things, but I threw 4 in there today. Change your direction. So you can start moving differently. You can shine differently, right? So you can just start moving differently. So, and I'm talking to my single people right now because you have an option. You can just pick up and walk away. You have nothing binding you there. So that's who I'm talking to on this one. You can change your direction and you don't have to deal with that person. You can simply say, I don't want to talk to you no more. Block game strong. So in that, moving in a different direction, I look at it as you can relocate your emotions elsewhere. Now we can all do that, right? I can change how I interact with you. I can change my emotion. I don't have to, my love, do they say love don't live here no more? That can happen, but you can relocate your emotions when you're moving differently. And what I mean by that is if you love someone, they ain't treating you well. And it's a one-sided relationship. You're always doing for them, they're never doing for you. You can change that. You can redirect your emotions elsewhere. You can redirect your focus somewhere else. I ain't saying that you ain't gonna love that person no more. But you can change how you are acting towards them. There's a way that you show love. Love is not just a word. So it's a way that you're showing love by cooking for them, by packing their lunch, by, rubbing their feet when they're tired, or by giving them a massage or running their back, whatever it is that you do, by cleaning out their car. And these are a lot of things that you're doing, but you can relocate your emotions somewhere else. When I say relocate your emotion, relocate that emotion to yourself or your kids or something that's productive or some goal that you have. Don't put it behind that person anymore if they don't deserve that. Remember, I'm talking to my single people because y'all know I'm not going to give y'all that advice for my married people. So, those of you who are married, we're talking about changing your direction, right? So, you have to try another way to get your point across. So, that's how I want to address the changing your direction. Um, you're changing your approach to something. So, specifically, if it's communication. Sometimes we have to evaluate ourselves and see, what is it that I'm doing wrong? Or, hey, what's working? Or what's not working? If it ain't working, it's time to change something up, right? So if you're sitting up here arguing all the time, or if you're screaming at each other, is that working? Are you getting your point across? So that's what I'm talking about. Let me look at how things are going. Let me reevaluate. So if you're looking for a job or something like that, and you keep applying for jobs, and you're not getting any hits on your resume, your application, they're constantly getting those emails or those replies that are saying, thank you so much. This job is closed. We've gone with another candidate. Then you start looking at yourself saying, well, dang, I thought I qualified for this job. So you're looking back at the job description, you're reevaluating, right? Like, what can I do better? Not necessarily that anything is wrong, but what can I do better? What can I do to boost myself up so that I'm in the running the next time? Do I need a network? I need to call somebody I know. I need better references, or maybe I need to change my resume around. Maybe I do need to write that cover letter. So you're evaluating yourself to see what it is that you can do to improve your situation, right? So, are you mad and walking around the house not speaking to your spouse? Hey, I've done it. I've done it before. Hey, Kim. Hey, Tanya. Thanks for joining. I've done it. Not in my present marriage, but I've done it. Walking around because I'm big mad and not. I don't know what to say. I don't know how to say it, so I'm just gonna not talk to you because I'm mad, and that was me showing my emotion. Um, thank God I matured and figured that thing out. That's why I'm talking to y'all. But what you're doing is, like I said, reevaluating. I can't talk, y'all. Self-evaluating. What are you doing that's not working, or is it working? Are you holding back on sharing something that bothers you? Reevaluate your situation, your direction. You can change your direction, and if you're not, this is an example of something that you can do to see if you can make a change for the better. Try something different. So that's for my married people. You can change your energy. Yes, you can. You know how people like keep that same energy when, yeah, you can use your energy for things and people that compliment you. That's what you can do. So, you know how they say don't throw good money after bad. So, if you already know, say, you're investing in a stock, and you see that it's not doing well, it's constantly not doing well, it keeps losing money. Do you keep buying more stock? Is that the way it works? You know, if you find out that a certain car is not a good car, they have tons of recalls. Why are you going to go and seek to purchase that same vehicle? Because you know something's wrong. So you have to do things that make sense, but you also have to put good energy in order to get that back. But you don't want to waste your time going after bad. That's really what I'm trying to say. Don't waste your time or your energy going after bad. So you can change your energy. And when I say people that compliment you, I'm not talking about, girl, you look good today. Girl, you look so pretty. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about compliment you in a way of somebody who's going to support you, someone who is there for you when you need them. When you're down, they're trying to lift you up. They're trying to encourage you. It doesn't mean somebody that's trying to compliment you like, I'm gonna buy you something, but compliment you in ways that emotionally supporting you as well. That's very important in relationships, I believe. What y'all think? What are some of the ways that You believe that your mate should compliment you. Um, you want to have somebody who is on the same playing field as you. You want to have somebody who you have some interest. Um, People say opposites attract. I disagree with that. I should talk about that. I'm gonna tell y'all about that one day, what I think about that. But I don't believe that. I believe that opposites may attract, but it might not be a good thing. Y'all have nothing in common. But I think it's just important for you to put energy behind the things that are important to you and the people who compliment you. If you are, say, an entrepreneur and you're working on a business, if your partner does not support that, like, your partner need to be out here like sharing, liking, posting, you know, just like some of my friends and family are doing for me. It's important because that's a person who's going to, it's like a handshake. Like, we in agreement. Like, I might not be the talent. Like, y'all, my husband is right here on the other side of this camera. He set everything up. He's like, let me get your station set up and all this. He's in it. He's not the person that's in front of the camera, but he's always right there to compliment me. Compliment means kind of like uh, a hamburger and cheese. The cheese is a compliment. The hamburger might already taste good, but that cheese, that throw a little extra something on there. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Um, oh, Latricia says opposites attract in the beginning, but it doesn't last long. Ooh, that's a good point. That's a topic. I'm gonna write that topic down. We're gonna talk about that one day. Opposites attract. So for my single people, we're talking about changing your energy. So I say don't put effort into a relationship. Notice I'm saying my single people. Don't put effort into a relationship with someone who doesn't align with you. So I've been with somebody in the past who lacked ambition. They lacked drive. So they would sit on the couch while I'm over here working two jobs, writing a book, doing doing 50, 11 things to move myself forward. And they over here like, I wonder what's on TV now, because they don't match my drive. So the thing is like, you have to get somebody who's on the same level playing field as you are, because they're going to support the things that you do because they have some ambition. If somebody never wants to do anything in life, I mean, my mom always said, get you somebody doing something for themselves. I hope that makes it plain for y'all. Get y'all somebody who's doing something for themselves. Number one, they ain't worried about what you doing, but they also can be your cheerleader because they've accomplished some things too. And on the flip side, you also support them as well. And like I said, put your energy behind somebody who compliments you. So if you're single and you're seeking, they don't lie with you. That's not what you fool with. I mean, if you went to a restaurant and they had poor service, would you keep going back? Would you? Because I wouldn't. I don't care how good the food is because the ambiance is what I'm looking for. Latricia said, I can't be the only one grinding out here, but we're both in the house creating bills. That's right. I can't bring home the bacon and cook it too. Like, I need we got to work together as a team and to be able to work things, work through life, work through things. I mean, when you're in a relationship, it's a team effort. I don't believe that there's this 50-50 thing. Oh, half this, half that. Some people have different views on that. And I understand that my views are different, and I'm okay with it. Everybody has to be something, right? So, my views differ on that, but I believe that if everybody is putting in 100 and 100, yeah, that equals 200%. But whatever, y'all get what I'm saying. It's about the effort that people are putting in. Um, it's important when you're in a relationship that you're openly communicating and putting in some effort, putting in some energy into the relationship because you always get out what you put in. That's what you should. Now, if you over here, you can't communicate because communicate is a flow of information. You can't communicate with a person who's sitting up there looking at you and not responding, not giving feedback. You can't communicate with them because you don't know what they're thinking. And remember, I said, nobody's a mind reader, so you have to be able to openly communicate, the good, bad, the ugly. But one thing I want you to remember is that you can't change someone else. I say you better check your receipt before you leave the store. No refunds or exchanges, especially if you're married. If you look at it that way, you got it. This is what you paid for. This is what you have. Um, there's some consequences and repercussions when you're trying to change somebody. Um, I used to think I'm just going to model the behavior, be the change that you want to see. I still believe those things, but when it comes down to you being in a relationship with somebody, a relationship, a situationship, that person is who they are. We talking about grown people. Now, we ain't talking about somebody who 15, 16 years old in a relationship. We're talking about adults. And when you're trying to change somebody who is pretty much set in their ways, yes, people can change for the better, but that's a choice that they have to make. So when you're trying to change someone, number one, they probably gonna get mad with you. They're gonna get mad, like, well, why can't you just accept me for who I am? So it's kind of pointless unless they want to change. I mean, for example, if somebody's a smoker, I dated this guy one time. It was the same one who raised his voice at me. And I was like, oh, he was so nice and all this, that, and the other. So found out he smoked cigarettes. And I was like, you know, I understand that's your thing, but that's not my thing. Oh, no, no, no. I can stop. I can stop. No. I was like, hold up, homeboy. Don't change for me. Because if you change for me, then it's something that you're willingly doing it, but it's not something that you would have thought of doing without me. So don't do it for me. I mean, he's like, well, what are you gonna do? I was like, I'm probably gonna move on. So what he ended up doing was trying to hide that nasty little habit. That was a short lived uh situationship. It never flourished into anything. But another example is when somebody's not domestic. Listen, if you're not that person who's going to go and clean the house and mop the floors and clean the baseboards and do all of these different things, that's not who you are. That's not the first thing you wake up thinking about. Like the first thing I wake up thinking about ain't putting a load of clothes in the washing machine. It's not. It has to be done, and it does get done. Not by me, but excuse me, y'all. It does get done, but that's not the first thing that I think about. I mean, I am Betty Crocker up in this thing. I was in the kitchen 2 hours yesterday making dinner. That's why they got hot dogs today. But, you know, I'm domestic in the kitchen. But when it comes down to all those other things, I know somebody's mama that might iron the sheets before they put them back on the bed. But um you can't change that about a person because they're not willingly doing that. You know, around the house there are things that have to be done every day unless you want the work to pile up, right? But if you're not domesticated like that, then you're not thinking about, oh well, let me go and wash this, let me wipe this down, let me fold this, let me, you know, you're not thinking of that. Oh, let me go organize the pantry, let me make sure all of the spices are in ABC order. You're not thinking about those things because that's not in you. I'm talking about me right now. That ain't my thing. But again, like I said, I'm Betty Crocker. I got use. I got use around here. But um I'm not, that's not who I am. So if that's not who you are, like if your guy doesn't like cutting the grass and he does it begrudgingly, you know, it's not something that he thinks about. So he's not going to cut the grass every 2 weeks, or anything like that. It's out of necessity, not out of something that they just really enjoy doing. So then you hire somebody. I see Sharita. Hey, Sharita said people love to get all the attention, support, and focus. It's giving it back that is the problem. That's right. They do. And I mean, hey, I've been guilty of it, but you have to realize that in a relationship, um, you have, again, it's, you got to give. If you focus on really trying to make that other person happy, and learning them and knowing what it is that they want, and they turn around and do the same thing. I ain't saying the relationship is going to be perfect, but you can mark off one thing off of your list is, getting your needs and your wants met. But again, it goes back to communicating those things. Even if it's the person who is doing the spoiling, like, oh, I just really enjoy spoiling my man or whatever, and doing ABCD for him, and then sitting back like, yeah, but he doesn't do anything for me. So he doesn't support my business ventures, and I'm always playing secretary for him and doing all the things to help him, then that's one of those situations where it's like you need to have a conversation. But also the person who's being spoiled needs to realize, like, okay, I got to give something to this relationship too, because although we enjoy being spoiled, we got to realize that there are things that our mate wants as well. So you got to attend to those needs. So, and they may be different. May be different than what it is that you receive. I mean, we talked about the 5 love languages and understanding what it is that your mate likes, not just the 5 love languages, because all of their likes and wants aren't going to fall into those categories. So it's important to have conversations and really get to know what it is that they like. So, when you're trying to change someone, I was talking about some of the downside of trying to change someone. So it's really just wasting your time. People are only going to do what they want to do. So I like to say, look closely. Look closely. See how they move. Choose carefully. Because remember I said, you better check your receipt before you leave the store, because there's no refunds or exchanges. You get what you get. Um, I say take the time to get to know a person, and so that you can know who they are and what their values and beliefs are. Now, we do sit back and be like, oh my gosh, that person just really changed. If we squint our eyes real tight and think back, we realize that that person has always been that way. That way. Whatever it is, that way is, you know what I'm talking about. When you really think back, it's like, okay, well, that person always had this in them, or they've always been this way, or they were this way in their last relationship. So, you know, you can see those signs. But, they say love is blind, or we live our life with rose colored glasses on, right? So, um, sometimes we don't really think that we're trying to do it. Oh, well, he's always wearing basketball shorts and little t-shirts. So I'm trying to get him into like some slacks and some polos and stuff. And there's nothing wrong with that. But is that something that the person wants? Is that something they're interested in? I'm not talking about trying to change a person as in I don't want to watch House Hunters all day. So let's watch Real Housewives of Atlanta. No, that's not really what I mean by trying to change someone. I'm talking about big changes, trying to, like I said in the example, somebody who's a smoker, trying to change somebody who, um, hey, somebody who cusses all the time. That might be difficult to change them. Or if somebody doesn't go to church or doesn't have the same beliefs as you do. What if you have religions that are totally different? So that may be something I'm talking about. There are sometimes there are those big changes that you really can't change what a person thinks. Change is really about perspective. I titled this one, don't waste your time. And then I ended up talking a lot about change. There are a lot of things that are waste of time. And so one of those big waste of times to me is trying to change somebody. There are a lot of other things that, can be considered, a waste of your time. But today I wanted to talk about change because that's how it came to me. That's what came to mind. And so I wanted to share that with y'all today. So what I want you to remember is not to waste your time trying to change someone else. Instead, and here go the tip, do you. Do you. That's right. And now I'm going to put a period on that. I'm not going to provide any other explanation. Y'all know what do you mean can't live with. Is it something that I want to talk to them about? But just be careful in trying to expect somebody to be something that you want them to be. My other tip is focus on what's important and what makes you happy. Y'all gonna hear me say this 11 times. Happiness comes from within you. It doesn't come to you. So if you're focusing on what's important and what makes you happy, you're not trying to change somebody else. If you're already married to them, I'm hoping that you're married to somebody who is a reasonable person, or if you're in a committed relationship with someone who's a reasonable person that you can work through things with. Y'all single folks, get y'all a reasonable person that you can have a conversation with and that knows how to, listen and give constructive feedback and be able to have a conversation with. That's important. Um, communicate. Communicate. your needs and your wants with your partner. That's so important, because remember, we talking about not, don't waste your time trying to change a person. But if it's them who wants to change, I'm not trying to convince them to change, but if it's them who want to change, if I say, you know what, I really like to receive fresh flowers on my birthday. Now that's more like me dropping a hint. That ain't even a hint. That's something direct or whatever. But if you're telling your partner what it is that you want, or I really need to hear from you throughout the day, and because I worry about you because you have to travel so far from work for work, and you work in a rough neighborhood, I'd like to hear from you throughout the day, because I want to know that you're okay. I want to be able to hear your voice, because your voice is comforting, just for a minute. That's sharing something that you want. My dog didn't like what I'm saying. She over here growling. But that's communicating, and that sounded all sweet and everything. Y'all got to work it up. Work it up, work it out, and just talk and say, hey, this is what I need. Even in the example that I just gave, some people might be like, well, that's asking somebody to check in. No, that ain't what I said. That's not what I said. Y'all rewind the video back. That's not what I said. But it's more so, you know, I want to hear from you. Your voice comforts me. I want to know that you're okay. Totally different. The other thing is, I want y'all to know that you have to understand that people are who they are. Um, by the time we get to the ages we are at, and I'm sure this is a wide age range of people who are watching, if they change for you, know that that's going to impact their happiness. And it might make things uncomfortable for you and in your relationship. I am Miss Council, and I thank you all so much for joining me again on this Thursday night, this Friday Eve, to talk about not wasting your time. Miss Council knows a little bit about everything, and I ain't telling you what I heard. I'm telling you what I know. Thanks for joining. Please like, share, and post. I love all of your comments. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you on Monday night. Please join our group for divorced women called Divorced Like Us. I'll put a link out there. And thanks for watching. Y'all have a great night.